Our guest today, Lori Riley, and she's the Conneaut School Superintendent, and it's rather appropriate because school is starting. What is it starting in Conneaut?
August 26th.
Okay, it's the same day as Buckeye.
And Geneva. The three of us, the three superintendents, decided we want kids to have a longer summer. So we are the last three districts to start.
Well, that's good because I've got some certain things I want to do with my grandchildren, and I was afraid it was going to be like the 17th or 18th or something, and I went by Kingsville Elementary and it said 26th there.
So we're all starting, and especially here with us with D-Day.
Yes.
It gives us a week in between, so it gives the community a chance to catch our breaths and families to kind of wind down from D-Day and start up again.
And I know Geneva, they want it as late as possible
Yes.
because they want those kids working at Geneva on the lake and everything.
It's quite a spirited discussion. We meet as superintendents to plan calendars. We can't come to an agreement on a countywide calendar. South County is starting earlier. It would be nice if we could. It's hard on ATEC because districts start at different times. Kent State starts the 22nd, so we're a little bit closer in line for kids College Credit Plus, but we can't seem to get everyone on the same page. But I'm glad the three of us have decided summer is still important.
And it always goes by fast.
It does.
Year,
it does.
Yes. So you were recently, have you been here for 4 years?
3. I just finished 3.
Okay. And so you just signed a contract for how many years?
5.
Okay.
Which is, it's a little longer. Most districts will hire for a 3-year period. But the board asked if I would stick around for 5 more years. So
that must make you feel good.
It does. Well, because I love it here too. So of course I'm going to say yes. And it's good to know that as a district, there's that longevity. I know, they had, some time where people were kind of coming and going.
Yes.
So both Jackie, the treasurer, and I will now be here for at least an 8-year span from the time we started through the next 5-year contract.
But you both came together.
Together.
She was the treasurer in Ashtabula, and you were the assistant superintendent.
Yep.
So we're going to delve a little bit, we don't usually do this, but into your feelings and stuff, because from what I understand, you applied for the Ashtabula job, you were the assistant superintendent, and then you didn't get it.
Right. I had been
and
there
you were a
23
little
years.
depressed about the...
Not depressed, disappointed.
Yeah.
You give your heart and soul. It was the only district I had ever worked in. You grow up there. I started as a tutor and worked my way up to assistant superintendent. So there was a certain expectation. But I am so thrilled to be here, and I feel I've grown and I'm a better superintendent here. I've learned more. So there's that feeling God closes the door and opens something else. So the disappointment was short-lived because I am definitely in a better place. And after 3 years reflecting on that, this is really where I need to be. And there is no going back. If they called tomorrow, there would be no going back. This is where I want to be, and this is where my heart is. So it's a good place. So that's why yes to 5 years.
Okay. Well, tell me about some of the high points in the last 3 years.
Well, the high point, one of the high points comes after the low point, and we started thinking there was a different financial picture, and finances were not good, so we had to make cuts. We had to go to the community to ask them to pass a levy, and the community supported us in our first year and passed the first levy in 17 years. So the fact that the community is behind the schools financially is definitely a high point. Just bringing the district together. We are very fortunate to have the employees that we have here. We have great union leadership in both the certified and classified union leadership. We have a great teaching staff. We have a great non-teaching staff. Everybody wants to work together to move the district forward and do what's best for kids. We have a phenomenal board that works with us. So just the people here, and then the community itself. I just saw the play Come From Away. It's a musical about what happened in Newfoundland after 9/11 when they had to land the planes, and how the community of 9,000 people opened up and took on 7,000 plain people after 9/11. And it reminded me of Conneaut. I mean, the community of Conneaut just bands together for things. And it's just it's a privilege and an honor to serve in this community. So those are just high points. It's after that low point of Ashtabula saying no. Every day after that, being able to serve in this community is a high point. So I can't express why I love it so much here, except I just do. It's just a great place to be. The people here are wonderful, the community. We have a great partnership with the city tonight, which was the night we're taping this, not the night it's airing. We have a joint city council school board meeting. So the fact that we work in conjunction with the city, 4 times a year, if we work with them, there's a lot of cooperation here, which makes my job very enjoyable to do.
So I'm going to tell you about when I went to get pizza
Okay.
a couple of weeks ago.
Okay.
And it wasn't ready yet. I don't know why, but I had grandson Ben with me, and we decided we would, while we were waiting, it was at Pat's, and we decided to walk the track there. And I talked to him about it. I talked to him about when his father was on doing track and cross country. Every meet was out of town because there was no facility for it. And we had that beautiful track. I stopped there the other day while I was biking and ran around it 2 times. And you got that, and you've got the stadium now, and now you've got the tennis courts that are opening.
Yes.
And none of that was done with, well, I guess public money guaranteeing it, but it's all done by donations.
Private
correct?
donation.
Yeah, so I mean, that is pretty
It is.
significant.
It is, and we have the tennis courts. We're getting ready to do a ribbon cutting. The weather, the cold, rainy weather, put the coating of the tennis courts behind the company. You're on their schedule,
Right.
So they are coming hopefully this week to start that, and then we will have the ribbon cutting for that, and then our next project is to look at some parking areas. The district itself owns some side lots around there, so we want to make some improvements to those to put some parking up because that's definitely needed. We have the ability to lease the GE lots, but you never know how much longer we'll be able to use the GE lots. And while the land that the tennis courts was on was nice for parking, it was never dedicated for parking.
No, it was all grass and everything.
Right, and it was always the home of the tennis courts. So now that we have the tennis courts there, we need to look at some alternative for parking. August 29th, we open on a Thursday night with Edgewood. We are so excited to pack the house. It's the Whiteout tailgate, Chris Breck State Farm tailgate party. But we need to have parking spaces too. So tonight at the city council meeting, we're going to look at some options for parking. And again, the city, works in cooperation with us when we need to close a couple roads during football season to do that. But the facility is great, and it's a community facility.
Right.
It's private donations, so you and your grandsons can go and enjoy that. It's not just a school facility, so it's open to the community because communities support the project.
Ben says, "Are you sure we can go in here?" yeah, don't worry about it. Well, you've been involved in the community right from the start, though, like joining organizations and getting involved in things. I'd see you at one thing in the morning, and I'd see you someplace else in the afternoon.
And that's important. And it was the same way in Ashtabula, and I'm still involved in things there as well. At the Ashtabula Art Center, for example. But I don't believe that the school superintendent should work in isolation. I mean, the community supports the schools, and I think it's important that the school superintendent supports the community. So, I'm on the Rotary, I'm on the Chamber Board. You'll see me as many activities as time allows. The spring and summer, I'm getting ready to send my one and only child off to college. So, limitations a little bit with being a mom. But now we'll be at empty nesters, and I know I've lined my husband up to do a couple things out here as well now that, his time will be a little freer. He'll be at the Whiteout. He'll be at the Perch and Pilsner because, it's important that, he embrace this community too because it's been very good to us as a family. So I just feel your school superintendent needs to be visible in your community because the community, again, supports the schools.
Lori Riley, Conneaut School Superintendent, is our guest, and you brought some papers talking about things that are coming up.
Because I never know what you're going to ask.
Because I never, that's right. So there's not going to be like a preschool bash this year, right?
No, when we moved the tennis courts, when we started
that would
building
put a
on
cramp.
there, and we tried it at the stadium, and it was a little cramped last year, and we wanted to do a little more intimate feeling at the individual schools. So on the 22nd, Lakeshore is going to hold a Meet the Teacher night, and that's from 4 to 5. And then on Friday, August 23rd, Gateway is going to have an orientation and a meet and greet from 9 to 11. Conneaut Middle School is going to host something on the 23rd from 1 to 2:30. And then the Conneaut High School is going to host freshman open house and then new student orientation and open for all students from 12:30 to 2. People want website or school supplies. That's on the website. We do have a Facebook page now, so we're getting a little bit more into the social media aspect. Our website went through a redesign, but we're still working out some of the kinks of that.
It needed a redesign.
It did, but I'm still not 100% happy. It's still got last year's sports schedules, so we're still
That's not
working
good,
the
yeah.
kinks. No, because I need to know what's going on. But one of the big things that's happening, and it'll be after your sports. This show airs, but on Friday night, August 16th. The Ohio High School Athletic Association is supporting Friday night football, but it's FUTBOL, and it's hosting a soccer game under the lights. The boys' football season is starting a week later, so they want to host some kind of soccer match under the lights. So our girls are going to be playing PV on the high school football stadium that Friday night. So that'll be a nice big event.
Yeah.
Somebody said, well, that's D-Day. And I said, oh, I understand, but in the state of Ohio, there's other things that happen besides D-Day. So we'll be parking cars during the day and then down at the stadium at the Spark Friday night for that soccer game.
Well, usually by the evening, the D-Day stuff is closed.
Right.
And the reenactors they have their own time there.
Right,
Go to
right.
the local restaurants.
Right,
and-
so they
and
can
whatever.
come in their reenactment gear and watch a soccer game.
Yeah, that's
Or
right.
football game. So that'll be fun and exciting. And then, like I said, the 29th will be our first home football game. And we have a really strong football team this year. So we're excited for what the season could bring
And
us.
WWOW should be broadcasting
Yes,
that.
yes.
One last thing I wanted to at least mention briefly, and that is the permanent improvement levy.
Yes.
And is that a renewal or is that new?
It's a renewal.
Okay.
Permanent improvement covers things like buses, technology, textbooks. We've been very fiscally responsible. One of the things we had to do with the levy, we did some staffing rearrangements. So I am also the maintenance supervisor. So we've done things like we've retrofitted our outside lighting to save some money to LED lighting. We got some grant money to help offset the cost of our buses. We put Chromebooks in. We're not a one-to-one device because we feel that they're better utilized once staff has training and students have had training. So the district's at actually a 1-to-2, so one device for every 2 students. But we've put in new labs and carts, so we bought things for Chromebooks. We're getting ready to implement a new math series for grades 5 through 12. So we're ready for the next phase of technology. So that's what the permanent improvement levy will cover, are those kinds of things. So again, the community has always supported that improvement levy, and we'll be talking a little bit more
Well,
about it.
We're about out of time. But
Oh, geez, this goes so fast.
I was absolutely flabbergasted that levy, the operating levy, passed the first time. You must have put a spell or something. I don't know.
I'd say it's a
because
great
usually
community.
there goes, you try it once and it fails miserably. The second time, it's not too bad. And maybe the third time it passes.
Well, again, thanks to the community, they've supported us. So
Lori Riley, Conneaut School Superintendent, thank you. Good
Thank
luck
you.
for the new school year.
thank you very much. Have a great day.
Yeah.